Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl Butler, and you're listening to the Mighty Mommy's Quick and Dirty Tips podcast, which will help make your life as a parent a little bit easier and a lot more fun. Welcome! Today's episode is number 375, 8 Ways to Teach Kids to Embrace Peers with Disabilities. April is a month known for new beginnings, but it's also significant because it's Autism Awareness Month, which provides an opportunity to highlight the importance of support for research, early intervention, timely diagnosis, and appropriate treatment. National statistics show an astounding 1 in 68 children in the United States is diagnosed with autistic spectrum disorder. In addition, there are reported increased rates of intellectual disabilities, ADHD, learning disabilities, and fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. In fact, 1 in 6 children have some type of a developmental disability. As the mom of kids with learning disabilities and one with Asperger's, I know both sides of raising a special needs child, helping a challenged child fit in and succeed amongst his regularly developing peers, as well as teaching other children to be accepting of those with special needs. The National Center for Education Statistics reports that in 2015, 1 out of every 4 students, that's 22%, was being bullied during the school year. However, there are plenty of kids who want to do the right thing and be accepting of their peers who have physical and learning disabilities. So today, Mighty Mommy has 8 tips to teach kids to embrace peers that do have disabilities. Tip number 1, explain what special is. Just for the record, I have never been a fan of the term special needs child. This stems from raising a child in the autistic spectrum, as well as being in the trenches with 2 significantly speech-delayed children 24/7 for the first few years of their lives. All kids are special, regardless of whether or not they have a diagnosis of some type, but it certainly is a kinder label than others that are out there. We should never assume that our kids know what a special needs or learning disabled child is. Parents and caregivers who are raising a child can provide age-appropriate knowledge and explanations that kids won't necessarily get outside of the home. It's important that kids learn early on that no 2 people are born the same, and that sometimes these differences are more noticeable. Kids need to understand that a disability is just one characteristic of a person. Everyone has strengths and challenges and wants and needs. Children with disabilities are like all children, and that they want friends, respect, and to be included. They also need to know that children can be born disabled or become disabled from an accident or an illness, and that disabilities are not contagious. Most importantly, children with disabilities can do many of the things that your child does, but it might take them longer. They may need assistance or adaptive equipment to help them. Tip number 2, get to know the parents of special needs children. Most parents of children with disabilities would prefer that other adults ask them about their child directly, rather than avoiding them or talking behind their backs with other parents. Making eye contact with them, say when you're at the playground for instance, and sharing just a smile and a friendly hello can be all that it takes to make a welcoming connection. If your child wants to have a play date with a child that has a disability, or invite him or her to a birthday party, encourage it. Call the other parent and say simply, "Katie would love to have Melissa join she and her friends at her birthday party next week. What is Melissa comfortable with, and how can we make her feel at ease and welcome?" And tip number 3, encourage your child to be accepting. Talk to your child regularly about his friends at school and on his various teams. Ask questions such as learning their names, if they have siblings or pets, are they shy or outgoing. Kids are brutally honest and most love to share what they know about their friends, which might offer you a glimpse of any friends that might have special needs. Facilitate playdates that might allow for a new friendship to blossom. Many times, it's easier to help a special needs child feel included if you can arrange for a one-to-one setting for your child and his classmate in an environment such as your home rather than the park. If your child is too young to handle this by himself, invite the parent as well. You know, it needn't be an all-day event. In my experience, an hour or so is perfect because it allows for some friendly interaction without the pressure of entertaining for hours. Tip number 4, keep bullying at bay. As noted, bullying continues to be a growing problem for both students and parents. Researchers discovered that students with disabilities were more worried about school safety and being injured or harassed by other peers compared to students without a disability. Bullying will not go away by itself if we look the other way or we quietly ignore it. Taking action against bullying is key, and according to a report by Davis and Nixon, taking action against bullying is key. And according to a report by Davis and Nixon, students who experience bullying report that allying and supportive actions from their peers, such as spending time with the student, talking to him or her, helping him or her get away, or giving advice, were the most helpful actions from bystanders. Keep the conversation going strong at dinner or driving in the car about being proactive as a bystander. Are your kids seeing other kids who are different being made fun of? Encourage them to reach out and be a friend. Sometimes all it takes to end a pattern of bullying is for one strong person to stand up and say something. Encourage your child to be that person. Tip number 5, join up with Best Buddies. One of the most rewarding and satisfying experiences 2 of my now college kids experienced were joining a local chapter of Best Buddies. Best Buddies is the world's largest organization dedicated to ending the social, physical, and economic isolation of the 200 million people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. For individuals within this community, Best Buddies helps them form meaningful friendships with their peers and help secure successful jobs, live independently, and improve things like their public speaking and self-advocacy and their communication skills, and basically feel valued by society. In my kids' case, they were paired up with 2 students with special needs to be buddies for the entire school year. They went bowling together, out for ice cream, hung out at their friends' houses. They even went to prom as a group. It was a remarkable experience for all involved, and it was totally life-changing for my kids. Tip number 6, be an example to your kids. Our kids are constantly watching our every move, whether we realize it or not. Our kids are constantly watching our every move, whether we realize it or not, and they definitely sense whatever mom or dad is feeling. Feeling nervous, awkward, or afraid around people with disabilities will only make your kids feel exactly the same way. So respond positively and lovingly when engaging a person with a disability, and they'll take your lead and do the same. Tip number 7, encourage questions. If your child has questions about differences in physical characteristics, discuss them openly. This teaches your child that it's okay to notice differences, and more importantly, it teaches him that it's good to talk about them. Learning to appreciate all kinds of differences, not just racial and cultural, but differences in socioeconomic levels, gender, and even disabilities is an important skill in today's diverse society. Tip number 8, keep it simple. I've learned with my own kids that there is no reason to overcomplicate my explanations by being too wordy or detailed. Using something our children already know and can relate to will help special needs become personal and easier to understand. For example, I remember when my speech-delayed daughter was at a story hour at our library when she was about 4 years old, and another child asked why she couldn't talk using words and had to point and use picture cards to communicate. I simply said she was born this way and she was learning a little differently than other kids her age. The child simply responded, "Oh, like I was born being allergic to cats and dogs." He was able to relate on terms that he could understand and was very satisfied with my explanation. I, in turn, loved his response. How do you encourage acceptance with your kids? Share your thoughts in the comments section at quickanddirtytips.com/mighty-mommy, or post your ideas on the Mighty Mommy Facebook page, or you can email me at mommy@quickanddirtytips.com. I hope you and your family enjoy a fun-filled spring. Thanks for listening, and until next time, happy parenting.